The sun rose over the earth, casting a warm glow across oceans and continents alike. Cities buzzed with life, cars honked, people hurried to their jobs, and children laughed in parks. On the surface, it seemed like humanity had finally found peace. After centuries of war, conflict, and chaos, the nations of Earth had united under the Global Council. Borders no longer divided them. Technology had advanced by leaps and bounds, providing clean energy, faster travel, and communication that spanned the globe. Yet beneath this calm, a storm was brewing. Humanity had long known it was not alone in the universe. Since the first contact with alien signals decades ago, scientists, engineers, and soldiers had quietly prepared for what no one wanted to admit: a war in space. Dr. Mira Solis sat in her observatory high above the Andes Mountains. The room was filled with blinking screens, holographic star maps, and instruments she could barely imagine existed when she was a child. Mira's eyes were fixed on one particular blip, a tiny point of light moving against the black canvas of space. "They're here," she whispered. Her assistant, a young engineer named Kael, froze. "What do you mean, here?" he asked. Mira tapped the screen. "That object isn't part of our solar system. It's moving toward us, very fast." Kael's hands shook slightly. "Is it friendly?" Mira shook her head. "I don't know, but judging by the trajectory, it's deliberate. Someone or something is coming to Earth, and I don't think they come with gifts." Far above Earth, the alien scouts entered the outer solar system. Their ships were unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Sleek, silver, and ominous, they moved with purpose, ignoring the moons and planets in their path. The aliens had traveled across light years, scanning planets, studying life forms, and assessing threats. Humanity was just another data point to them, a young, primitive species not yet worthy of attention. But Earth would not remain primitive for long. In the Global Council chamber, representatives of every nation gathered. Screens displayed the incoming threat. Leaders whispered urgently to one another, but the tension in the room was palpable. "The readings are clear," said General Haruto, commander of Earth's newly formed space defense fleet. "They are moving toward the inner planets. They are not here to negotiate." Councilwoman Rivera leaned forward. "Have we tried sending a message?" "Yes," replied Mira, who had been summoned to explain the technical details. "We transmitted a simple greeting. We offered peaceful communication and shared some of our cultural data. There has been no reply, only continued movement toward us." A hush fell over the room. The idea of a peaceful first contact had long been a dream, a story for children and hopeful diplomats. Reality was different. The alien coalition that Mira had studied, an alliance of multiple species, was known for conquest and domination. They respected strength, efficiency, and results. Diplomacy was a concept they only acknowledged if it served their purpose. "Then we prepare, General," Haruto said firmly. "The time for talking is over. Humanity must stand ready to defend itself." Across the globe, military bases scrambled into action. Fighter jets were prepared, missile systems were tested, and Earth's orbital defense satellites hummed with new life. In the midst of this chaos, civilians continued their daily routines, unaware of the storm approaching from the void above. Mira and Kael returned to the observatory to monitor the scouts. The alien ships were unlike anything humans had built. Their surfaces shimmered with a material that seemed alive, moving and adapting as if responding to its environment. Sensors measured energy emissions far beyond anything Earth had produced. "They're advanced," Kael said. "Way beyond us." "Yes," Mira agreed. "But they're also predictable. Watch their formation. They maintain strict patterns, like a military fleet. They may have technology we cannot match, but they also follow rules." Over the next few days, the alien scouts moved closer, testing Earth's defenses. Communications satellites detected strange signals, patterns that seemed like scanning, probing, and cataloging. Mira translated the data and realized the aliens were assessing Earth's cities, its defenses, and even human behavior. Their sensors are everywhere, she said to Kyle. They know what we are capable of before we even react. Kyle's face was pale. Are we going to be able to stop them? Mira looked at the tiny blue planet spinning beneath them. We have to. Humanity has survived worse than this. We adapt, we improvise, and we fight back. They may underestimate us, but that will be their mistake. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the alien coalition's command ships received the latest reports. A senior officer, its form unfamiliar to any human eye, scowled at the readings. Primitive, it hissed through a translator. Their defenses are minimal. Yet, they resist in unexpected ways. Increase reconnaissance. Prepare for potential combat. The alien leaders had traveled countless light years expecting an easy conquest. They had underestimated humanity's ingenuity, creativity, and stubbornness. That underestimation would prove costly. Back on Earth, the Global Council held an emergency broadcast for all nations. Every screen, device, and communication channel was tuned in. Mira stood beside General Haruto as he addressed the world. People of Earth, we face a challenge unlike any before. Alien forces are approaching our planet. We do not yet know their intentions, but we cannot wait for them to strike. Humanity has survived countless wars, disasters, and crises. Now we must unite once more. Stay calm, follow instructions, and trust that we are prepared to defend our home. Across cities and towns, humans paused to listen. Some were frightened, some skeptical, but many felt a familiar spark, the determination that had carried their species through millennia. In quiet corners, people whispered to one another. Soldiers tightened their grips on weapons. Scientists worked late into the night. Pilots trained relentlessly. Humanity's survival instincts, long dormant in times of peace, were awakening. On the outer edges of the solar system, the alien scouts continued to close in. They began transmitting a message, simple and cold: surrender or be erased. When Mira received the translation, her heart sank for a moment, but only for a moment. She looked at Kale and said, "They've chosen war. But we will show them what it means to face humanity." The news spread quickly, shaking the Global Council and the people of Earth alike. It was clear. Diplomacy had failed. There would be no negotiations. There would be no compromise. The storm had arrived, and humanity had no choice but to stand and fight. That night, Mira walked outside staring at the stars. She could see a few faint points of light moving steadily toward Earth, harbingers of a conflict that would define the species. And yet she felt something else. A deep, unwavering pride. "We've survived worse," she whispered. "We'll survive this too." Below in the cities, humans carried on with their lives, unaware of the full scale of what was coming. But somewhere deep inside, every person felt a growing certainty. Earth would not bow. Humanity would not surrender. And when the time came, they would remind the galaxy why humans were not to be underestimated. The alien scouts reached the asteroid belt, and for the first time, Earth's orbital defense satellites engaged them. Bright flashes of energy streaked across space as humans tested their weapons against the alien vessels. The scouts responded with swift, calculated maneuvers, avoiding destruction, but confirming that the humans were no longer defenseless. For every attack, there was a counter. For every alien maneuver, humans adapted. And in the dark void of space, a silent electric tension built, a tension that promised war, but also showcased the spark that made humanity unique. Somewhere, in a small control room beneath the Pacific Ocean, General Haruto stared at the holographic displays. His voice was calm but resolute. "Let them come. Let them see what Earth has become." Mira nodded, standing beside him. The stars seemed brighter now, each one a reminder of the countless possibilities, dangers, and wonders awaiting humanity. And at that moment she realized something profound. The calm before the storm had ended. The storm itself was about to begin. The calm that had lasted for decades was gone. Humanity's eyes turned skyward as the alien scouts drew closer. Satellites in orbit relayed images of the sleek, silver ships gliding silently through space. Their surfaces shimmered, reflecting the sunlight like mirrors, and yet, despite their beauty, there was something terrifying about them. A cold, calculating intent that humans could feel even from millions of kilometers away. General Haruto paced in the command center of the global defense headquarters. The room was alive with the hum of computers, blinking lights, and chatter as officers relayed reports from across the world. "They're testing our defenses," Haruto said, his eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the alien ships approaching Mars. "Every move they make is a probe. They want to see how we react, and we have to make sure we're ready." Mira Solis stood nearby, scanning data streaming from telescopes and satellites. "They're fast," she said quietly. "But they're also predictable. Their formations follow a pattern. If we can anticipate their moves, we might stand a chance." Kale, still young but brilliant in his engineering skills, pointed to a screen. "Look at this. They're not just moving in formation. They're testing the electromagnetic fields around our planets. They're trying to see how our defenses will respond to interference." Haruto nodded. "Good. Let's give them a response they won't forget." Deep underground, engineers worked feverishly. Humans had been preparing for this moment for years, but now those preparations had to be tested in real time. Satellites were armed with defensive lasers, orbital cannons were calibrated, and space fighters readied for launch. Yet, for all the technology, humans knew their greatest weapon was ingenuity. When the first attack came, it was sudden. One alien scout broke formation near Earth's orbit, releasing a swarm of drones that zipped through the asteroid belt at unimaginable speeds. They moved like liquid metal, reshaping themselves constantly to avoid detection. "Visuals confirmed," said Captain Lee, commanding one of the orbital fighter squadrons. "They're attacking the satellites." Fighter jets and satellites engaged, lasers flaring across the darkness of space. The drones twisted and turned, dodging missiles and returning fire with strange energy beams. The first human losses were felt immediately. Satellites were destroyed, sending debris into orbit. But the humans adapted. Mira leaned over a console. "They're scanning as they attack. Their energy weapons create data trails. If we follow those trails, we can predict their next move." Kale's fingers flew across the keyboard. "I'm running a simulation now. If we lure them closer to the asteroid belt, we can use the asteroids as cover and as weapons." Haruto considered this. "It's risky, but it might work. Prepare the asteroid diversion. Let's show them humanity doesn't surrender easily." Across the globe, civilians looked up as streaks of light appeared in the night sky, missiles and lasers from orbit striking the approaching alien drones. Panic mingled with awe. The world realized that the war had begun, and Earth was fighting back. The first human counterattack was daring. Satellites fired concentrated energy pulses, temporarily disabling some drones. Orbital cannons launched controlled asteroids toward the remaining ones, forcing the alien scouts to scatter. Fighter squadrons executed maneuvers no one thought possible, weaving between beams and debris to strike with precision. On board the command ship hovering above the Pacific Ocean, General Haruto watched the battle unfold. His jaw tightened. Humanity was holding its own, but he knew this was only the beginning. "They're faster than anything we've faced," he said. "But humans fight smarter. Every time they attack, we respond. Every time they adapt, we adapt. Faster." Mira turned from her screens, her eyes shining with determination. "That's what they don't understand. They've faced countless species that bend or break under pressure. Humanity bends. But we never break. Not completely." Meanwhile, in the outer solar system, the alien scouts regrouped. Their commander, a towering figure with a translucent exoskeleton, observed the battle through advanced sensors. "Unexpected," the alien hissed. "These primitives resist beyond predicted probabilities. Adjust fleet strategies. Prepare for escalation." The aliens underestimated humanity's greatest strength: creativity under pressure. On Earth, engineers and scientists worked tirelessly to improve defenses mid-battle. Small teams on Earth modified fighter software, repurposed satellites, and even coordinated with civilian engineers to turn ordinary communication arrays into temporary weapons platforms. Kale grinned as he watched the simulation results. If we launch a series of decoy signals, we can confuse their targeting systems. Then we hit them where they least expect it. Haruto approved immediately. Do it. Every advantage counts. Hours passed. Battles flared over the asteroid belt, between Earth and Mars, and in orbit around the moon. Energy beams lit the darkness. Explosions sent shards of metal spinning through space, and human ingenuity shone brighter than any laser. On the ground, civilians were mobilized as well. Emergency shelters opened, evacuation drills were performed, and scientists prepared to assist in any way possible. Humanity was showing that war was not only fought in space, it was fought in unity, with every person contributing, whether on the battlefield or behind a screen. By the end of the first day, the alien scouts had been repelled, at least temporarily. Many of their drones were destroyed, and their ships had suffered minor damage. Humans had not only defended their planet, but had also inflicted unexpected losses. In the command center, applause broke out among the officers. Haruto allowed himself a brief smile. They underestimated us, he said, and that will be their mistake again and again. Mira, however, remained focused. This is only the first wave, she warned. They've retreated for now, but the main fleet is still out there, and when they come back it will be much larger. We need to be ready for anything. Even as humans celebrated their small victory, the aliens recalculated their strategy. They had not faced a species that could improvise so quickly, that could learn from mistakes in real time. Their arrogance had been shattered by the unexpected resilience of humanity. The next morning, Earth held a global broadcast. General Haruto addressed the planet. Today, humanity stood together and faced an enemy from beyond the stars. We survived the first strike, and we will survive the next. Remember this. We are stronger than anyone predicts. And this is only the beginning. Mira and Kale stood beside him, knowing the truth behind the speech. Survival had been hard fought, but humanity had won its first battle not because of weapons alone, but because of ingenuity, courage, and unity. Across the globe, children looked up at the sky with awe, soldiers tightened their grip on rifles and control sticks, and scientists returned to their labs with renewed determination. Humanity had shown the galaxy that they were not an easy target. In the void of space, the alien scouts retreated toward the edge of the solar system. Their commander was furious. Primitive species, clever, unpredictable, dangerous. We miscalculated. Prepare reinforcements. We will crush them. Back on Earth, Mira looked at the stars, feeling a strange mix of fear and pride. Humanity had survived its first encounter with an advanced alien species, and against the odds, they had fought back, successfully. But she knew that the real battle had only just begun. Kale leaned over her shoulder. Do you think they'll come back? They will, Mira said, her voice steady. But we will be ready. Humanity is not a species that waits for fate. We shape it, and when they return, they will learn one thing above all: you do not underestimate Earth. As night fell, Earth glimmered like a blue jewel in the darkness. The planet was scarred but unbroken. Fires from orbital impacts had been quickly controlled, debris had been cleared, and life went on. But humanity's gaze was no longer just at the horizon. It was in the stars. For the first time, humans knew what it meant to fight for more than survival. They were fighting to prove their place in the galaxy, and they would not fail. The alien scouts were gone for now, but their message remained clear. Humanity had been challenged, and the galaxy would soon learn the truth about Earth. In the quiet moments before sleep, Mira whispered to herself, "This is our home, and we will defend it, no matter what comes." The first strike had been repelled, but humanity knew the real test was coming. The alien scouts had retreated, but only to signal the arrival of the main fleet. Intelligence reports confirmed that hundreds of alien warships, far larger and more powerful than the scouts, were en route. In every corner of the globe, the world changed. Streets once filled with mundane life now buzzed with preparation. Factories shifted production from consumer goods to critical defense equipment. Engineers redesigned satellites into mobile battle stations. Civilians trained as volunteers, learning first aid, communications, and emergency protocols. Humanity was uniting like never before, not under governments, nations, or armies, but under the singular purpose of survival. In the Global Defense Headquarters, General Haruto convened a council with the world's top minds. Mira, Solis, and Kyle were present alongside commanders, diplomats, and scientists from every continent. "This is no longer a local threat," Haruto said, voice steady but grave. "This is a test of our species. The aliens believe they can crush us easily. They have underestimated human adaptability, ingenuity, and courage. We will show them they are wrong." Mira tapped the holographic display, highlighting patterns of alien movement observed from the scouts. "They follow strict formations and predictable attack methods. They rely on technology to overwhelm their opponents. But they have never faced a species that improvises so quickly, so creatively." Kale pointed to an array of orbital satellites. "We can use the solar system itself as a weapon. The asteroid belt, the moons, even the magnetic fields around the planets. If we coordinate correctly, we can create traps and ambush points for their fleet." Haruto nodded approvingly. "Then we prepare a defense in depth. Satellites, orbital platforms, stealth fighters, asteroid weapons. But most importantly, humanity will fight together as one. Every scientist, soldier, engineer, and volunteer will contribute." Around the world, this unity became visible. In South America, engineers converted old satellites into relay stations for communication and laser attacks. In Europe, civilian drone operators were recruited to assist in surveillance. In Asia, shipyards built smaller, faster vessels to complement Earth's main fleet. In Africa, scientists developed EMP devices designed to temporarily disable alien electronics. Even remote islands in the Pacific contributed with deep-sea facilities that could hide submersible weapons. Humanity had become a web of interconnected defense, and while technology played a role, it was creativity, ingenuity, and adaptability that truly made the difference. In space, humans began training with their newly built fleet. Pilots learned to weave through asteroid fields, to use the solar wind for speed, and to coordinate attacks using real-time data from satellites and ground stations. Every fighter pilot knew that survival depended not on individual skill alone, but on teamwork and communication. Mira and Kale worked tirelessly in their observation stations, calculating the alien fleet's estimated arrival and possible attack vectors. Mira projected the fleet's trajectory across a large hologram. "They will likely split into 3 groups," she said. "One toward Earth orbit, one near the moon, and one attempting a flanking maneuver past Mars. If we position ourselves correctly, we can force them into predictable paths." Kale leaned forward. "Then we make those paths dangerous. Use asteroids, decoys, and countermeasures to weaken them before they reach Earth. And if they underestimate us again, we can strike back with force they won't expect." The aliens, meanwhile, were far from idle. Their scouts had reported back with the first data on Earth's defenses and tactics. Their commander was furious. "Primitive species, clever beyond expectation," it hissed. "They resist in ways uncalculated. Strengthen all fleets, prepare strategies for deception and adaptation. These humans must be destroyed before they develop further." But humans were not waiting passively. They learned from each alien attack, adapting their defenses and developing new offensive measures. They built decoy satellites to confuse alien targeting systems, created holographic signals to mislead drones, and even devised small kamikaze probes that could disable enemy ships if necessary. Every loss, every challenge, became a lesson for the next encounter. In New York, citizens gathered in large halls watching broadcasts from General Haruto. He spoke directly to the people of Earth. "We face an enemy unlike any before. They have immense technology far beyond what we have achieved, but they do not have what we have: unity, courage, and ingenuity. Humanity will not bow. Humanity will fight together, and together we will prevail." From London to Tokyo, Rio to Cairo, people responded. Volunteers trained, factories worked around the clock, and scientists pushed the limits of physics and engineering. Humanity had become a single organism, with every hand and mind contributing to the defense of the planet. In orbit, the first tests of human ingenuity took place. Fighters lured alien drones into asteroid fields, where hidden energy traps disabled many of them. Stealth ships used gravitational anomalies to approach undetected, striking at alien sensors and communications. Satellites fired concentrated energy pulses that temporarily disabled enemy targeting systems. Every maneuver, every strike, was designed not only to damage but to confuse and disrupt the aliens' strategy. Mira and Kale watched the data stream in awe. "They think they are superior," Mira said, eyes gleaming. "But they don't understand humanity. We adapt faster than they can predict, and we never, ever give up." Kale smiled. They chose the wrong species to underestimate. The aliens, growing increasingly frustrated, began sending small fleets to probe Earth's defenses again. But each attack was met with a coordinated counter. Humans anticipated movements, redirected forces, and used clever tricks that no alien algorithm had prepared for. On the ground, news of these victories boosted morale. Schools held emergency drills. Engineers solved problems under extreme time, pressure, and soldiers shared knowledge with civilians eager to help. Humanity was not just fighting to survive. It was proving its worth as a species capable of extraordinary cooperation and intelligence. Even small victories became legendary. In South America, a group of engineers managed to use abandoned satellites to form a makeshift shield over the Amazon basin, blocking enemy energy pulses and protecting key resources. In Europe, volunteers guided drones to disable alien sensors over major cities. Each victory, no matter how small, reminded humans that they were stronger than the aliens had predicted. At night, Mira gazed at the stars again, reflecting on how much Earth had changed in just days. Humanity had awakened. Every person, every mind, every skill had become part of a collective effort. For the first time, humans were not just surviving. They were becoming a force the galaxy could not ignore. But with unity came sacrifice. Many civilians worked long hours. Soldiers risked their lives in orbital skirmishes, and engineers pushed themselves to exhaustion. Mira worried for Kale, who often went without sleep, analyzing data and testing simulations for new defense strategies. "You need to rest," Mira said one evening. "Even if we succeed, you won't be able to help if you burn out." Kale shook his head. "I can't stop now. Every calculation we make, every maneuver we predict, could save lives. Humanity depends on us right now." Mira sighed but understood. Humanity's strength was in its will to endure, its relentless drive to adapt and overcome. Kyle embodied that spirit perfectly. As the alien fleets approached the inner solar system, the tension grew. Every ship, every satellite, every defensive measure had to be coordinated perfectly. Mistakes could be catastrophic. Haruto gathered his commanders one last time before the main fleet entered range. "We fight together, we fight smart, and we fight knowing that the galaxy will not forget Earth. Every human, every action, every invention is part of this. This is our moment. We do not fear them, we do not falter, we prevail." The room erupted in determined cheers. Every person present knew the truth. The coming battle would not be easy, but humanity was ready. Not just with weapons, but with courage, intellect, and the unbreakable bond of unity. In orbit, the first alien ships were detected. They glimmered like silver predators, scanning for weaknesses, ready to strike. But they were met with a complex web of defenses, stealth fighters weaving through asteroid fields, energy pulses disrupting targeting, and traps that no alien algorithm had anticipated. Every encounter, every skirmish, reinforced a single truth. Humans were not just survivors. They were innovators, leaders, and warriors. They would fight together, and the galaxy would soon learn that Earth was not to be underestimated. Mira looked at Kyle, and both of them understood the magnitude of what was happening. The aliens were powerful, But humans were stronger in ways the invaders could never quantify. Kyle smiled faintly. We're ready. Mira nodded. The galaxy is about to see what humanity can do when it stands united. And somewhere in the cold void of space, the alien commander adjusted its sensors. Its thoughts were filled with calculations, but one thing was certain. These humans were unlike any species it had ever faced. The real war had not yet begun, but humanity had already won a crucial victory. They had proven that unity, ingenuity, and courage could match technology and strategy. Earth was no longer a passive world waiting for fate. It had become a force, clever and resilient, ready to face the stars and defend itself against all odds. The day had come. Humanity's eyes turned skyward, and every heart on Earth beat with a mixture of fear, pride, and determination. The alien main fleet had arrived, filling the void above with ships far larger and more numerous than the scouts. Their silver hulls gleamed like predators circling prey, scanning, calculating, and preparing to strike. General Haruto stood on the command deck of the orbital flagship, staring at the formation. "This is it," he said, voice steady. "Everything we have trained for, everything we have built, everything we have learned, it all comes down to this moment." Mira, Solus, and Kale monitored the fleet's movements from their station. "They're dividing into 3 attack groups, just as we predicted," Mira said, pointing to the holographic display. "One toward Earth, one toward the Moon, and one attempting a flanking maneuver past Mars. They think they can overwhelm us with numbers." Kyle nodded. "Let's make them regret underestimating humanity." Across Earth, every nation braced itself. Civilians were evacuated from vulnerable areas. Cities prepared emergency defenses, and troops stationed across continents were ready to act. Humanity had transformed into a coordinated organism, every part of it connected to the others. The first shots came from the aliens, targeting the Moon to disable orbital defenses. Energy beams carved through the darkness, striking satellites and research stations. Humans responded immediately. Stealth fighters lured alien drones into asteroid fields, while orbital cannons fired controlled asteroids at the incoming ships. Explosions illuminated space, turning the void into a chaotic battlefield. General Haruto watched as his fleet executed maneuvers he had trained for countless times. "Hold formation, focus fire on the lead ships, use the traps." Human ingenuity shone through. Satellites projected holographic decoys, drawing alien fire away from key installations. EMP pulses disabled drones temporarily, while kamikaze probes struck alien ships' engines, forcing them to maneuver unpredictably. Every tactic, every strike, was calculated to disrupt the alien fleet and buy time for Earth's forces. On board a human stealth cruiser, Captain Lee directed her squadron through a dangerous corridor of asteroids. "Remember, follow the plan," she shouted. "Hit the sensors, disable their targeting, and fall back before they respond." Her pilots executed flawlessly. Energy beams arced past the rocks. Alien ships swerved to avoid collisions, and the human squadron struck vital systems before vanishing into the shadows of space. Mira and Kale watched the live data feed. "They're adapting," Mira said. "The aliens are adjusting their formation, but it's slower than ours. Every maneuver we make forces them into traps." Kyle's eyes sparkled. "This is exactly what we hoped for. They rely on precision and predictability, and we're breaking that. They can't keep up with human improvisation." Meanwhile, on Earth, civilians watched the night sky. Bright flashes of energy illuminated the clouds as orbital battles unfolded. Children clutched their parents' hands, soldiers gripped their weapons, and scientists monitored the chaos. Humanity was united not only in action but in spirit. The alien commander, aboard the flagship of the invading fleet, grew increasingly frustrated. "Primitive species, unpredictable, dangerous," it hissed. "Deploy additional reinforcements, use the full fleet, crush them before they adapt further." But humans had anticipated this. Hidden warships emerged from the shadows near Mars, joining the fight with precision attacks. Communication jamming disrupted alien coordination, forcing their groups to scatter and adapt independently. The battlefield became chaotic, favoring human tactics and ingenuity. In the heat of the battle, heroism emerged. Lieutenant Amina Patel piloted a fighter through heavy fire, using a small asteroid to shield her approach, then striking a critical alien energy generator before escaping. Soldiers on Earth's surface guided orbital weapons to intercept alien projectiles, saving major cities from destruction. Engineers on the Moon repaired orbital defenses mid-battle, keeping vital systems operational. General Haruto watched the success unfold and realized the tide was turning. "They underestimated us," he muttered. "They didn't see what makes humanity strong: courage, intelligence, and the will to survive." Mira turned to Kale. "This is more than a battle. It's proof of what humanity can do when we act as one. Every skill, every mind, every hand matters." Kale nodded. "And it's working. They're breaking their own formation. The flanking group past Mars is isolated. We can hit them next." The humans struck hard. Coordinated attacks targeted the alien flanking group. Asteroids, energy pulses, and fighter strikes combined in a symphony of chaos. Alien ships that had seemed invincible were now disabled, engines crippled, and communications disrupted. Back on Earth, the people cheered. The alien fleet, once a terrifying force, was beginning to retreat. Humanity had not only defended its planet but had also demonstrated a cunning and resourcefulness that the aliens had never anticipated. The alien commander realized the severity of the situation. "We miscalculated. These humans, they are unlike any species we have encountered. Regroup, withdraw temporarily. Prepare for a new strategy." But the humans were not done. General Haruto seized the opportunity. "Pursue them. They think they can retreat? Let's remind them why they chose the wrong planet to attack." The humans' pursuit was relentless. Using stealth cruisers, agile fighters, and calculated asteroid bombardments, they forced the aliens into disarray. Communication lines were jammed, ships collided, and the fleet's morale faltered. Every human action demonstrated creativity and courage, turning defense into offense. Mira and Kale calculated the final moves. "If we coordinate the remaining orbital cannons, we can trap the main fleet near Jupiter," Mira said. "It's risky, but it could end the battle decisively." Haruto nodded. "Do it. Every second counts." The humans lured the alien fleet into a trap. Asteroids were moved into strategic positions, satellites fired precise energy beams, and stealth fighters struck at weak points. Alien ships were immobilized or destroyed in a series of devastating maneuvers. The fleet, once confident and powerful, was now crippled and disorganized. From Earth, the victory was clear. Cities lit up in celebration, soldiers cheered, and civilians rejoiced. Humanity had not only survived the first major attack, but had also turned the battle into a decisive demonstration of strength, ingenuity, and unity. General Haruto allowed himself a rare smile. Humanity has done it. They will remember this planet. Mira and Kyle watched the aftermath. "They underestimated us," Mira said softly. "They thought technology alone would win. They didn't see what humans are capable of when we act together." Kale nodded. "And they won't forget it. Not now. Not ever." The alien commander, defeated for the moment, sent a final message. Before retreating, "Primitive species, resilient, dangerous. We will return. This is not over." But Earth had sent its own message, clear and unyielding. "You chose this war. Humanity will not bow." As night fell over Earth, the stars seemed to shine brighter. Humanity had faced a threat from beyond the stars and had emerged victorious. Not because of superior weapons alone, but because of courage, creativity, and unity. Across the globe, celebrations erupted. People hugged, laughed, and cried. Soldiers returned to their families. Engineers rested after relentless work, and scientists recorded every lesson learned from the battle. Humanity had proven something profound. No matter how advanced an enemy might be, determination, intelligence, and cooperation could overcome any obstacle. But even in celebration, leaders and scientists knew the truth. The aliens would return, stronger and wiser. The battle had been won, but the war was not over. Earth needed to continue its preparations, to innovate, and to ensure that humanity would remain a force the galaxy could not ignore. Mira looked at the stars one last time. That night, "We survived," she whispered, "and when they return, we'll be ready. They may have technology, but we have something stronger: humanity itself." Kyle stood beside her, looking at the horizon. "And that is something no alien can ever calculate." From the orbital command stations, the view of the alien retreating fleet was clear. They were battered, disorganized, and wary. Humanity had sent a message that resonated across the void. Earth was not weak, and its people would fight with every resource, every skill, and every ounce of courage they possessed. General Haruto made one final broadcast to the world. "People of Earth, today we faced a threat that many believed would destroy us. But we fought together, and we triumphed. Let this be known across the galaxy. Humanity will not bow, will not surrender, and will always defend its home. We are Earth, and we are strong." And so, humanity stood victorious, for now. But the real challenge lay ahead. The aliens had been tested, and they would return. Humanity would need to grow stronger, faster, and smarter, and when the next battle came, the galaxy would see the full power of an united, determined Earth. For the first time, humans truly understood what it meant to defend their planet, not just with weapons, but with courage, ingenuity, and unity. And, somewhere far away in the silent emptiness of space, the alien coalition reeled from their defeat. They had underestimated Earth's people, and that mistake would haunt them. But Earth had one final act to perform. One message to send to the stars, a message that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. The sky was quiet over Earth for the first time in days. The alien fleet had retreated, battered and confused, but their presence lingered like a shadow over the planet. Humanity had survived the first major battle, proving that even the most advanced enemies could not easily crush them. Yet the war was not over. In the Global Defense Headquarters, General Haruto addressed a council of leaders, scientists, and strategists. "They will return," he said. "Stronger, smarter, and angrier. But we are ready. Humanity has learned, adapted, and grown. The galaxy must understand one thing: Earth will never bow." Mira, Solis, and Kale worked tirelessly in the observation station, analyzing the alien retreat and plotting humanity's next steps. "We can't just wait for them to come back," Mira said. "We need to send a message that makes it clear to the galaxy that humanity will defend itself, no matter the odds." Kale leaned over her shoulder, eyes bright. "Something bold, something that they can't ignore, something that says, 'We are ready.'" Together, they began planning the transmission. It would be sent from every satellite, every communication array, and every relay station on Earth. The message needed to be clear, simple, and undeniable. Humanity was united, determined, and unyielding. Meanwhile, across the planet, humans worked as one. Engineers modified satellites, scientists fine-tuned broadcast systems, and operators coordinated with military teams. Even civilians contributed, providing logistical support, monitoring data, and spreading the news. Humanity had become a single, unstoppable force, not through weapons alone, but through unity and determination. In orbit, human fleets remained on alert. Fighters patrolled the asteroid belt, stealth cruisers monitored the outer planets, and orbital cannons were ready to fire. Every vessel, every satellite, every human was part of a web of defense that stretched from Earth to the edges of the solar system. Mira activated the main transmitter. A holographic screen displayed the path of the broadcast, reaching every corner of the Milky Way galaxy. "This will be the first time humanity speaks not as individuals, not as nations, but as a species," she said. Kale nodded. "Let's make it count." On the surface, civilians watched with anticipation. Children asked questions, scientists explained the significance, and soldiers stood ready to defend if the aliens returned. Every person understood that what they were about to do was bigger than any single battle. It was a declaration of humanity's place in the galaxy. The moment came. Across every frequency, every array, every satellite, the same message was sent. You chose this war. Humanity will not bow. We are Earth, and we are ready. Respect us, or face the consequences. It was simple, direct, and powerful. It carried the voice of every human on the planet, the farmers and teachers, the engineers and soldiers, the children and the elderly. It was a message not just of warning, but of pride, courage, and determination. Across the void of space, the Kyo alien coalition intercepted the broadcast. Their sensors recorded it, their analyzers processed it, and their commanders struggled to comprehend it. What is this? One alien hissed. They are broadcasting their intent. They are united. They are stronger than predicted. They are dangerous, another replied, shaking its exoskeleton. They survived our first strike, adapted to our tactics, and now they declare themselves ready. We underestimated them. We miscalculated. This species is unlike any we have encountered. The aliens realized, perhaps for the first time, that humans were more than just a planet with technology. Humanity was a species that could think, adapt, and endure in ways they had not anticipated. Their creativity, courage, and unity made them unpredictable, and unpredictability was dangerous to the aliens' strategy. Back on Earth, celebrations erupted. People hugged, laughed, and cried. The broadcast had not only been sent, it had been felt in the hearts and minds of every human. For the first time in history, humanity had spoken as one to the entire galaxy, declaring its strength and resolve. General Haruto addressed the people once more. This message is not just for them, he said. It is for all of humanity. We have proven that when we stand together, we can survive the impossible. We are strong, we are united, and we will never surrender. Mira watched the stars, a sense of pride swelling in her chest. They will remember this, she whispered. They will never forget Earth or its people. Kyle smiled. And if they return, we'll be ready, smarter, stronger, and united. They chose war, and we chose to fight and to win. In the aftermath, humanity began preparing for the inevitable return of the alien fleet. But there was no panic, no despair. Instead, there was confidence, a quiet, unwavering certainty that no matter what came, Earth would stand together, defend itself, and continue to grow stronger. The alien coalition, shaken and humiliated, began reassessing its strategy. Their scouts had underestimated humans. Their main fleet had been defeated in part, and the broadcast had delivered a message of determination that could not be ignored. They had faced a species that would not bend, that would not bow, and that would never surrender. For the first time, other civilizations across the galaxy began to take notice. Humans were no longer a minor species, barely worth monitoring. They were a force of ingenuity, courage, and unity. The broadcast echoed across star systems, reaching distant worlds and making clear the warning. Earth was defended by a species that would fight relentlessly for survival. On the surface, Earth was alive with energy. Scientists continued developing new technologies, engineers improved defenses, and soldiers trained for future encounters. The planet had faced the impossible and emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever. Humanity had proven itself capable not only of surviving, but of shaping its destiny. Mira and Kale walked through a city alive with lights and celebration. Children waved at passing soldiers, families embraced, and communities came together. We did it, Kale said softly. We sent the message. Humanity spoke as one. Mira nodded. Yes. And now, the galaxy knows. We are not weak. We are Earth, and we are ready for whatever comes next. In space, humans continued to patrol the solar system, maintaining vigilance. Orbital cannons and stealth cruisers were positioned strategically. Satellites monitored every angle, and fighters practiced maneuvers that would ensure Earth's defense. Humanity had become a living network of preparation and readiness. The alien fleet, still regrouping in the far reaches of space, received another transmission from Earth. We do not fight for conquest. We fight for survival, for our home, and for each other. Respect Earth or face the consequences. This is our final warning. For the aliens, the message was clear and terrifying. These humans were unlike any species they had encountered. They were unpredictable, united, and fearless. They had survived impossible attacks, adapted to new threats, and now boldly declared their place in the galaxy. And for humanity, the message was more than a warning. It was a declaration of identity. Earth had spoken, the galaxy had listened, and humanity had proven once and for all that they would never bow to any enemy. In the quiet moments after the battle, Mira and Kale looked at the stars. "Do you think they'll come back?" Kyle asked. "They will," Mira replied. "But we will be ready. Every challenge only makes us stronger. Every enemy only teaches us more. We are human. We survive, we adapt, and we rise." Across Earth, humans celebrated, but they also prepared. They had shown the galaxy their strength, and they knew that future threats would come. But there was no fear, only determination. Humanity had found its place among the stars. The final message had been sent. The galaxy knew. Earth would not. So, humanity would fight, and humanity would endure. From the orbital command station, General Haruto watched the planet below. "They will remember this," he said quietly. "And so will we." Mira smiled. "We wrote our name across the stars," Kyle added, "and anyone who dares to threaten Earth will see it shining back at them. Strong, united, unstoppable." For the first time in centuries, humanity looked to the stars not with fear, but with confidence. They had survived the impossible. They had fought against overwhelming odds. They had sent their final message, and the galaxy would never forget it. Earth had spoken, humanity had won,